Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together. Right, welcome back to the remainder, which we are still super excited about. And we know we're gonna hit new territory soon, so we're like,
Aha!
Yes, that one. Alright, I stare at them. You're serious?
I don't want to get into the details at this moment. Suffice to say, be watchful at all times. And for depth's sake, don't agree to any propositions. Lucassi are powerful enough to begin with, and nigh impossible to get rid of if you make a deal with them.
Right.
Like, I can't even tell you.
I rub the bridge of my nose.
It's probably really good that you don't have a piercing right there, because, you know, you imagine, like, rubbing the bridge.
And you'd be like, ow.
Ow.
Ow. I forgot that was there.
Even though
Honestly,
I think technically that's your, like, is that like a brow piercing? No, it is a ridge piercing, isn't it?
I seriously, though, I, like, look at that and I'm like, is it a piercing or is it magnets?
I actually kept going, is it eyes?
Okay, that's kind of fun, but I kept thinking magnets on, like, the side of the nose. And I've seen only, like, it depends on the shape of your nose on whether or not that's going to work, but I've only seen one person in my life that had a prominent enough, like, ridge to their nose where they could just wear these cool-ass magnets on the sides, but it looked awesome. It did. It was really cool. Alright, let me get this straight. I have to remember all these things to avoid being eaten, but I can lose memories at any time. Arg, there has to be another way. I grab Ilar's arm. Oh, what if you stay with me the entire time? What if you never let me out of your sight? That look of just like, I just, Ilar shakes their head.
As much as I'd like to, I must rest. That means no heart vessel for me and very limited access of this place.
Awareness.
Oh, awareness. Awareness and access, though, honestly. Because, like, awareness sort of
gives you access?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, Lyra, this is not happening. I pace in a panic, heart racing. Insight flashes. Don't you have a spell or something to help me remember? Something hard to forget.
That's not a bad idea.
Ilar massages the back of their neck and gingerly looks around the room.
Let me see.
They take a few quick steps away, pluck something from the air, and return to me. I thought it's interesting that when an object crashed into you, into the MC, it you know, splattered and turned into goo. But when the cat touched it, or the creature thing, because I always said cat girl at the very beginning.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
it just crashed into them, and now that Ilar's grabbing something out of the air, it also stays a solid object. And I wonder if it's because you cast the spell, or because you're way more magical than everyone else.
It might be that. I've kind of wondered about that too, actually, because it's like, these physical, like, it almost also sounds like you might actually just be dead.
Yeah.
Like, in a way that might not be like you're completely gone, kind of thing. Like, well, ours, like, it's just another state, and it's like, you are in possibly another state. But you're not gone yet, because you haven't gone to the abyss.
Right.
So, like, I'm definitely very curious about this.
But yeah, I was interested as to the floating objects react completely differently to you than the two other bodies they've encountered. Yeah. And I think that's interesting, and I would like to know why. Not that it's required, but I'm curious. From the air and return to me. Gripping my hand and looking it all over, they fixate on a spot on my wrist and jab something into it. Ow! What? Wincing, I instinctively jerk away, but Ilar's grip tightens, holding me still.
Look at me and repeat this. Let the image and words burn into your heart. Sensual pleasures wane, but pain I make my anchor. Long as this pain endures, I too shall remain.
Honestly, I love how collected they look when they're saying that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just that's a very even, balanced face of just, this is what we're doing. I grunt, struggling.
Say it!
The intense look in Ilar's eyes leaves no room for arguments. I try to steady my racing pulse, but they drive the sharp object deeper into me. It burns. I struggle more. They pull me closer and hiss into my ear.
Say it.
Gasping for breaths, I push the words out through gritted teeth. Abruptly, Ilar, let's go. Satisfied. I stumble back, pulling my arm free. A shard of metal drops onto the floor with a clink, leaving drops of red. Still catching my breath, I shout at Ilar. How dare you?
What? You asked for it.
You could have warned me. Ilar shrugs.
I thought it'd be no trouble for a magus of your caliber.
Kind of being a jerk, you know. Oh. I just think it's really cute that sometimes you can really distinctively see like the mascara on the bottom eyelashes because the top ones are white kind of thing.
Right.
It's kind of charming. I fume silently. Still grinning, they move on.
I'll leave you to the journal then. Remember, it's a ritual with a circular gate, some black powder, and a mantra. Can you manage that much?
If your memory spell works, I guess. I say, not at all certain. They smile and reach a hand toward me. I look away. Don't touch me.
No fun.
They pull their hand back, smile only wavering a little.
Once you find the spell, bring me the instructions. I'll tell you how to proceed, and the Abyss Devourer will soon cease to be a problem. Simple.
They're smiling, only fading a little. They're like, I'm only slightly distressed by your behavior. It's fine. I can make out even more of the objects behind them now. Their form is thinning out by the breath.
Hurry.
That's a cute expression, too. I like the teeth. I'm so tired of so many anime games where they don't draw anyone with teeth.
They go, ha,
haha, and no one has any teeth at all. I'm just like, thank you for drawing teeth. With a mischievous grin, Ilar gives my wrist a squeeze. The pain of the cut flares up again.
You won't forget this, right?
I wince, I narrow my eyes, I grit my teeth and stay calm. So I'm not sure what I picked last time, but I grit my teeth and stay calm. I'm trying to focus, and even if they did something that frustrated me because I couldn't, I didn't consent to what it was, it is what I wanted. And so it's like, I'm trying to stay calm in this situation and just get things done.
Right. Oh, I actually meant to comment really quickly. So I had some time to think about it. My friend and I have actually talked about this, but I thought it was interesting that when you do put in Ilar's name, I do have to say that it feels clunky for how the writing shifts and tries to adjust around going, oh, you know the character's name. And because it really does sound like the dialogue basically tries to just go back to exactly what it was before. And for me, now having seen both of those, I'm like, it just sort of sounds like you didn't plan very much for it. But it also, for me, that sort of, I don't know, obviously, Ilar very well. Part of the mystery here, as far as I understand, is that you don't know Ilar. And that is part of the thing going, do you trust them? Do you judge them? Do you, resist them? How will your relationship with this character work out? And I have to say, after seeing both of them, I really don't like the decision that they made in the writing to have the response that they did when you actually pick the correct name, if you know what it is. It doesn't sound as natural.
Well, I was gonna say, and the thing is we were both excited when it happened and going, oh, the game does respond to it. But I had a little time to think on it too, and I was like, it seems like it paths back to the exact same tone really quickly.
Right.
And maybe that's appropriate for the characters that they're writing.
Right.
But it felt a little odd, as far as flowchart storytelling was concerned.
Right.
It should have impacted Ilar a little bit longer.
Yeah, again, that thing was it just felt sort of clunky to try to reintegrate itself back in there. And again, I don't know this character. I don't know what's actually going on. Complete full disclosure, we have not seen the end of only the first act, which is all this is.
Yeah.
So it could be accurate, but it felt too...
But like I said, it felt a little strange at the time.
Yeah. And it is still, now that I've had more time, it does now feel kind of odd.
All right, I grit my teeth and stay calm. Enter. No, not likely. I reply with as steady a voice as I can manage, refusing to meet their eyes. Their grip tightens for just a moment. Ow. I inhale sharply.
Excellent. It might just save you. You'll see.
And you, I guess. As they finish speaking, they let go of me and begin to disintegrate. I take several steps back, staring as they disappear. Their smile is the last to go. I wonder if even that can be done on purpose. Finally, alone. You do sound very put upon. This is a lot. You, Ilar, are just kind of a lot. Let's see. This is a lot to take in. I let out the anger pent up inside of me. I get that the character can be interpreted as different layers of annoyed, but the first time I went through here, I really didn't interpret them as annoyed very much, only as like, yeah, they're frustrated, but they're early enough in the stages to just being like, I'm still kind of just overwhelmed. And so we're just gonna be like, this is a lot to take in.
I think also this might have actually been one of the choices that, like, I think we actually even did that this is a lot to take in. So I'll try to spoil. Let's do this choice and see if it's the one that I think it is real fast, and then I'll talk about it.
I give in to the weight of exhaustion and slump to the floor. I'm so tired. How can I possibly get out of this? What did I do to deserve this? Why is this happening to me?
Pathetic.
Why me?
You're pathetic. Don't you get it? No one's coming. Only you can help yourself. You have to do it. Trust yourself. Yourself.
I clamp both ears shut and shake my head over and over. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up!
Alright, so this is kind of the choice actually that I was thinking of. So this particular choice is where I feel tonally in the game that I wasn't really getting what they were going for.
I was gonna say,
so I don't want to like tell people what to experience or not experience, but for me some of this just doesn't land very well because the tone, it doesn't seem like it's conveyed very accurately. And I think some of that, as it goes on, sort of worsens, especially as you can't start telling who's actually talking. But when you have, like, both the characters on screen, there's one section in particular for the last time that we went to a certain, like, we only got so far as we did in the game, where I was really like, who the hell is talking?
So I was gonna say, there were already, so in our original foray into this on Twitch, it was a lot of times really hard to tell who's talking until we'd gone through the entire dialogue.
Right.
And so this time we've made it seem, I think, artificially a lot more natural because we've already known when it was Ilar talking.
Right.
But there's very little indicator in a lot of cases because it's not always a back and forth and there's not really any distinction between the two voices in a lot of it. And so there will be more of it in the future, and we'll certainly, if it continues in the same way. Yeah. But yeah, we've already basically handled a lot of it based on previous experience. But in this case, when I originally chose this choice, I really thought it was going to be you just get sort of contained and get to business. And they're like, I am collapsing under the weight of it all. I was like, I didn't understand that was what that would mean. Well, and when we first played it, there were like 2 or 3 choices where I was like, oh, this means this thing. And I was like, that's not what I thought it meant at all.
Yeah.
But it does take time to get to know authors and how their language works. And we're still pretty early yet.
Part of it also is that if this is actually a character, so based on what the authors actually talk about in their own writing, so we went and we've seen they're like, we really wanted to write a character. And that could just be, we don't really know Vin very well.
And it could be that we don't.
So
echoes dance in the great chamber. The voice in my head recedes, but not without leaving a last retort.
Coward.
I will show you who's the coward, I mutter, pulling myself to standing by the desk leg. I will show you, I tell myself. Remember, don't forget. Don't let anyone approach. Find the spell. I repeat the words in my head over and over, trying to make them stick. I do think it's cute that Vin does talk to themselves. Like, both, like, when they first arrived over at the desk, they talked to the journal itself.
Yeah.
And then now just going, I will talk to myself, which is kind of charming to me, because even in completely empty environments, when I need support, I will talk to myself.
Oh, God, yeah. No, I've done the same thing. I was actually even going to say, so one of the characteristics, I don't know quite if it's ADHD, or it's some sort of behavioral thing, though, that I definitely do, that I do not see a lot of other people doing. But it's a literal, I will talk to myself. I will say the thing over and over and over and over again in my head of going, this is the thing you're supposed to focus on. Or I will even start basically saying it quietly out loud to myself going, this is what we're doing. We're going over here. This is what we're doing. We're going over here. Or whatever it is.
When I have focus troubles, I will do that sometimes. Other than that, when I'm just wanting more engagement, I talk to objects.
Yeah.
Yep. Trying to make them stick. The pages of the book flutter through the air still. Weird.
Though the air is still.
Though the air is still. The pages of the book flutter, comma, though the air is still. Weird. I'm procrastinating, aren't I? Yes, you are. Fine, I'll get to work. I regard the book, pondering what to do. Where do I even begin? I must have been a formidable magus indeed. Hello, journal. It's me, your master.
We were just talking about talking to things, and actually, though, Vin has shown that they will talk to things.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's fine to go.
So I'm halfway between where do I begin and hello, journal. It's me, your master.
Uh-huh.
One, because where do I even begin is a little bit of like, I don't have any concept of what to do here. But I kind of like this one, and it fits with the fact that, you know, Vin's talked to themselves twice already, once to the journal. So I just, hello, journal. It's Vin, your master. I'm going to need a miracle. Please tell me you have one. Closing my eyes and desperately hoping, I pinch one of the bookmarks at random and open up to the page it marks. It reads,
Date 2.69548. Mark, cleansing. Expulsora ritual records. Held by visiting shamans of the Orients, a potent brew of mapacho leaf was drank by a circle of third-degree magi, myself included, resulting in distressing nausea and pain of the chest. It reached a point where I wished to be dead, rather than to endure another moment of that pain. Then suddenly I found myself transported out of the profane realm and into the pentagonal chamber within the seas.
I think it's funny that they're using, like, the profane realm, that kind of thing, or various terminology, sort of when, like, even, Ilar was describing, like, the physical body. Both of those are things like that suggest, you know, the flesh is kind of a curse.
Right.
You know, the whole profane, you know, realm thing, and that you're supposed to try and, you know, basically transcend it or get above it.
And that is deeply common with, actually, I think a lot of people going, no, the whole point is to ascend beyond your flesh.
And I'm like, for me, myself, and my own beliefs, I'm like, I believe that the corporeal and the incorporeal are meant to work together, and that the one is supposed to augment the other, not one transcend the other. This is very familiar language from basically the flesh is weak and limiting.
Yeah.
And so you want to get out of it and have the, you know, higher things. But of course, you know, you need the flesh to be alive, but, you know, nothing else.
I love when people are like, the flesh is profane, but, you know, let's eat God.
Right.
Let's eat of his flesh. Wait.
All right. Chamber of the Seas.
A group of Divarna seemed to have been expecting me there. They instructed me to take a knife with a single eye on its handle and carve out a portion of my heart that was tainted black. I did as I was told, and was then ejected back into the profane plane, vomiting profusely until a piece of still pulsing flesh came out. The knife had also been magically manifested in my hand. I felt a most pleasant sensation of joy and relief in the chest, followed by a surge of waters. I was told to discard the piece of flesh, but chose to keep it for further study. How is it still pulsing? How long will it persist? What can be done with it? I must experiment.
I'm also
VFA.
wondering casually of going
Vifa.
Yeah, Vifa. Like that sounds like a really interesting ritual, but it also sounds like you, even, you know, potentially powerful magus that you were, who knows how long ago this was, were like, wow, interesting stuff just happened to me.
I guess.
And I just experienced it, and going, you are kind of ballsy to just be like, and it was just a thing, and now I'm just gonna experiment on it and stuff, but also going, I felt a profound lightning, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if you also sort of crippled yourself in that moment without realizing it. Like, sort of, you know, cutting off part of yourself might have freed you in one way, but it also limited you in another.
Right. You've become Howl. You have taken out your heart out of your chest in some manner. Actually, I also found this to be sort of entertaining because, like, my brain just ran off with it. Never mind.
Sorry.
That's fine.
If you come back to it, please do.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I say, but yeah, it was really interesting where I was just like, I wonder how much it is. It reminds me a little bit of like in Lock and Key where she's like, I destroyed my fear.
Right.
I murdered my fear. And it's like having no fear can make you super brave, but it also removes all caution of any kind.
Yeah, and you can really hurt yourself with it.
And other people. Interesting. But I don't have a clue what it's about. There's no mention of a gate, black powder, or mantra. I thumb the side of the volume. It's at least 1,000 pages. I sigh. This person seems super overwhelmed too. For me, I'm like, Potentially, if I was greatly overwhelmed, I would just be like, yeah, I can't function at all. But also, I'd just be like, if I'm looking at a book that I never knew I owned, I would totally just be like, I'm gonna check every bookmark first, and then I can think about being overwhelmed.
Okay, so I was going to say, sorry,
Good.
I remembered now, was that I love, honestly, where the implication here, like in other sorts of stories that are more about, like, dark magic, or basically some sort of eldritch-type horror without it necessarily being Lovecraftian, because eldritch does not always include Lovecraft. That's actually, it's just a lot of people go, Lovecraft is eldritch, and it's like, therefore, everything that's eldritch is Lovecraft.
Yeah, it's a misnomer.
It's a wrong, incorrect association. But the thing is so, I've always found it to be really funny to have stories like this, where you go, the magic might not actually work in the way that you want, because a lot of people, it seems like, especially in fantasy, like novels or worlds, or like in even like D&D or role-playing games, they go, yeah, I do the magic like this, and it always does this. It always reacts like this. I know exactly how to do it. Like, with barely any study, sometimes it seems like at all.
And you're like, it's science now.
You're like,
that's not magic.
Yeah, I'm like,
science.
that's a science. Even if it's a magical bullshitty science, that because, you know, you didn't really do anything to get another thing, you just sort of like, here is this thing now, it still then becomes a science. It has repeatable effects that you can cause to happen. And so in that way, like, I love this implication that you have far less control.
That stuff is just happening. That it's way less, here's your completely repeatable scientific stuff. Yeah. Alright. It's at least 1,000 pages. Bite my lip and push on. Be flexible and look for something else. Okay, so this was one of the ones that I didn't understand last time, and I think I'm gonna make the same choice just for the sake of, it's what made sense to me at the time. So, what I thought bite my lip and push on meant was keep reading this same page.
Right.
And what I thought be flexible and look for something else was look in other parts of the book.
Right.
Because what they do here is going, it doesn't mention a gate or black powder or a mantra, and I assumed it was, well, if I keep reading further, it may mention those things. And if it was be flexible and look for something else, it's like, I know there's 1,000 pages, but go ahead and try some of them. But after I chose it, it was something else. So be flexible and look for something else. Judging by the size of the book, it might take me a moon or two to simply read through it. I will have to be smarter if I want to survive. Absent-mindedly, I finger at the cut that's starting to itch, scrutinizing the rest of the desk. If I had conducted a ritual recently, there might be some evidence of that. Freshly jotted notes or hastily stored ingredients, perhaps. There must be something. So initially, when I picked that on stream, I was really frustrated and kind of confused, going, no, I just meant look at other places in the book.
Right.
But that's one of those things of sort of learning how the authors word their stuff.
How they codify their choices.
Exactly, and how what their language means to them. So it's a level of getting familiar with each game.
Yeah.
Come on, Ven. Think like yourself. If I was me, where would I look? Thick coral iron. Coral iron?
Coralliron?
Coralliron. I don't know. It's to me it breaks into coral iron.
I mean, I think it is coral iron. But...
Okay, I love coralliron though.
All
right.
It sounds like Dantelian or like Coraline, or it actually also reminds me of Philip Pullman's the Subtle Knife series.
Yeah, and sort of like
or the Golden Compass
alethiometer. Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah, just like a nice made up word. Coralliron. Locks are set into each lower drawer. A furtive tug, then a firm pull, both nest me, nothing but a dull click. I think that one's supposed to be net me instead of nest me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure what nest me would mean. Me and my precautions.
Okay.
Undeterred, I decide to try every drawer. More of the same. Click. Nothing. Last time I actually made a joke. I was just like, what if it's one of those file drawers where they all have to be completely closed, otherwise none of them will open? Because your file drawers, there are a lot of file cabinets where it's only will allow you to open one drawer at a time, and if it's not clicked into closed position, it thinks it's opened, and so you can't open anything else until it's fully closed. And I was kind of giggling at that. You're not beating me this easily. I keep going, thinking if I'm lucky, then one might just be open. With a hiss, the bottom left drawer slides out. My eyes are set aglow, but a heap of crumpled and damp paper of every color. A tomb full of flowers. Head tilting, I scrutinize the collection with parted lips and... Just who are you? with a barely audible crinkle of violet-colored paper spreads partially open, revealing rows of text. I actually didn't catch that the first time, that it moves itself. I really didn't pick that up with, you know, the conversation and stuff that was happening on stream. But also we learned that violet was a color made up by the creators of the game, which I think is super cool.
I'm also really surprised that they're like rows of text. That sounds way too mechanical. But then again, actually, so as you note earlier in this, they actually point out, the character Vin points out going, wow, I have really exact handwriting. Dang.
Which
so I was like, it is very exact. So it is very mechanical.
I am interested that they don't comment on the handwriting here, because they were really into the handwriting there, and I'm just going, well, if someone else wrote this, maybe their handwriting isn't as good as yours, or at least not as impressive to your own mind. Letters. Could it be? Head abuzz with curiosity, I pick it up, unravel it fully, and read.
Today, we lunch by the riverbank. You have until mid-afternoon to come voluntarily or else be picked up bodily and carried downstairs by me. Consider this letter your last and only warning.
We're just going to assume who wrote this. We do not know. Different handwriting. Intriguing. I wonder what else I can find out.
I'm telling you this for the 100th time already. I know. I know. You are amazing. I mentioned how cute they were, but I never imagined you'd actually bring one home. They must have cost a fortune. Why do you even have to try to procure them? Our new friend is perfect. What a mixture of aloofness and grumpiness. A mirror image of you, practically. I'm thinking about naming them for their 100th birthday. I expect them to become a proper familiar right after, so we'll need something respectable. Mr. Fuzzpants, perhaps? INFP.
I love that one. So this one, we theorized that it was Ilar and Fuzzpants signing the letter together, which is super cute. Who knows, but that's our theory.
Yes.
I, Ilar, and FP. Fuzzpants? I shake my head, puzzled. I love that Fuzzpants is the big serious name, though. That charms me infinitely. Oh, yeah. Also, if Ilar did write that letter, I love the idea that they are a really playful, you know, sort of lighthearted kind of person, but that right now the only way to maintain some level of composure in reference to the enormity of the situation is to go, yeah, it might be completely inappropriate, but I'm going to just try and make light of everything, otherwise I'm going to fall apart.
Yeah.
More and more convinced that these were written to me, I grab another one.
You really must rest and relax for a while. The study has become your prison. I don't wish it to become your tomb as well. I trust you didn't recruit me for that kind of undertaking.
Was I some kind of weird recluse? Sounds more like a workaholic.
Yes.
I hope not. A deep rumble shakes my body. I look toward the Abyss Devara. Its form is lost in the dense debris circling it. The rumbling settles into a grating hum. These graphics killed our stream 1000%. It was death. It's hard to even think with the noise, but if it gets no worse, I might still get through a few more of these letters and perhaps piece together my past.
And if it does get worse?
Sink it. I'll take the risk.
Sink, indeed. Aren't you forgetting something?
Go away. Can a voice in your head smirk? I think mine just did. Reaching for another letter, I'm tense all over. A feeling gnaws at the inside of my head.
Vin's inner goddess is speaking.
Is grumbling, is judging.
Is gyrating.
Their inner goddess doesn't dance, it judges. I suddenly feel like a horse kicked me in the gut, knocking the wind right out of me. Doubling over, knees buckled, I wheeze. I still love the sound of this game in ways I cannot describe. The sound profile is fabulous.
You forgot, didn't you?
A pain pulses in my wrist. No, it's happening again. I have to go back. But the letters... No, I will not go empty-handed. Straining, I snatch a few more letters and turn to leave. But squirming in my palm alerts me. I look and see empty hands. What? I swear I... Look down. Papers are dropping to the floor in slow motion. Looking to my hands, I see sticky, glowing strands hanging from my wrists, where hands used to be. The odor of rotten eggs fills my nostrils. Biting heat creeps up my arms. Ilar looked like this before they disappeared. No, I plead, trying to gather up the streaks with my stumps. But more and more of me are turning soft and melting like cheese in an oven. I think it would be is turning soft.
I was about is turning soft.
Yeah, more and more of me is. As I stare, my skin becomes increasingly translucent. I can see fluid pump through veins with each heartbeat. Horror. Fascination. I'm frozen, unable to pull my eyes away. Parts of my skin bulge and tear open, spilling ooze that drift away into the unseen currents.
Like Studio Ghibli.
I was gonna say, like so much Ghibli crying.
Yeah, kind of.
I was gonna say, however, we're going to have to be able to Tara
in the next one! Hey! So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also videos. All of those actions is deeply, deeply helpful because we would really like to the algorithm. We could really use your help. And also, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi and our Patreon. We actually have some links in the description down below. So if you'd like to, you can do so through there. And other than that, I have been Scandal.
And if you ever wanted to join us live on Twitch, we would love to have you. All of the comments everyone leaves are so much fun, and every person we've had live has just been a joy to have. It is fun to hear all of you talk in person.
Yes.
And I have been Liz. Great playing with you.
Bye!